Hey folks, welcome to this different video from what we normally do. This is going to be an unboxing video of our new Hexploration kit from Inkwell Ideas. And we have, these are map tiles and inspiration decks. So I did open this up briefly previously, but only played with it for a few minutes. So it's in the spirit of an unboxing video, if you will. The product itself, the Hexploration Kit, is a combination of two different products. We have these Hexploration decks, which we'll get to in a moment, but they're great art on one side of most of the cards, and then there's a few cards that are all text. And the other side of the art cards have text with random charts of ideas, inspirational lists for you to use when building your campaign. And that's the key about this whole product line, is it's a great analog way to build your campaign, or even if you're doing something digital, especially with these cards. Here, let's open one of these up before we get to everything else. So this is the High Seas deck, so a lot of seafaring adventure ideas here. And if we just look at the art of these, this is what you're getting. And about 40 cards are like this, where it's all these art cards on one side. And then the last 15 cards of the deck, if I just jump past here, give you more charts of ideas that you can apply to the other locations, as well as you've got different generators for NPCs or for islands or weather and so forth. So you got a lot of info on these cards. And then looking at the back of these art cards in particular, we've got this town, this shell-based town, and so you can see all the different charts of ideas about the town. What dive rangers, they are known for what, and they're always hiring what kind of people for what kinds of jobs. They famously draw tourists for what, and what are the locals like, what do they like to do? So that's just this one card. One of the reviews that we had from one of our early backers when he was looking at it was like, every idea on every card can spring a whole session of gaming. So you've got a lot there that you can use. So that's what this is all about. And the other decks are similar, but just different themes, where they all have 40 art cards with text of ideas on the back, as well as another 15 cards with more information and charts and so forth. We'll probably get back to that in a moment. But now these are our clings for our tiles. And the clings, we had planned on keeping them in the tile box, although it does cause the box to burst at the seams, if you will, because we put so much more value into them. I really wanted to have a huge suite of icons to use, and so to pull that off, you got to have 20 different little sheets of icons instead of the original 10 that we were planning. So you're getting a lot of value, and because of that, even though we give a little bit of extra room in the box for these, this kind of blew up in size late, and so they will fit, but it's going to be bursting at the seams. All right, let's get on to the next good. There's so many good parts. I hate to say one part is good and it's implying that something else is not good. But here we can lay out our random campaign starting area. You don't want to have our swamp next to our desert. We'll move the swamp over a little bit. Maybe we'll find something else to stick in between. Like here we have more of a grassland area. Here we have a tropical forest hills, more tropical forest hills. There's 80 tiles in all, and they are all double-sided. So our tropical forest has on the back side evergreen and deciduous forest mountains, along with some hills there. And so you've got quite a lot of combinations. Of the 80 tiles, there are also about 10 that are just blue for sea areas. So say if we wanted to have an ocean down here. And then we also have 10 sides of tiles that are just white, so you can just draw in anything that you might like. But here we have something that's a little bit of a different color than the one up above. This is more farmland versus grassland, but the difference is subtle, so it's up to you. I think I want to flip around. Okay, so we've got some more desert up here, and in this case we have some dunes in the desert. Okay, I'm just going to look around for some regular forest, and it might be hiding on the back of some of these. So here's another deciduous forest hills. Let's see, I want one of these to go in here. So I've got a little bit of a transition, if you will. I think I bumped the camera there. A little bit awkward recording this. I'm not used to recording directly from my phone. I can put this little bit more sparse forest here and then have a heavier forest over here a little bit further away. And then I can get into looking, okay, so here we have some plain hills with just a couple of trees on the one side, but that's okay. There's always a little oasis there, maybe, perhaps. Here we can have some hills and some mountains up there. Over here on the other side, we can put some badlands there and then have that lead to some of our mountains. Maybe we've got, where's some of our plain mountains? We've got them. We've got them. Oh, there we go. I think that's a plain mountain. Looking at the color, yep. So this actually is great because it leads from the badlands to mountains. And you get the idea. We can then put in some deciduous or some mixed forest mountains leading into that if our wind direction is coming from that way, for example. So that's just laying out the tiles. And so you can have a lot of fun just doing that and record it and take a picture and stuff to lay it out again and to recreate, to sketch it out maybe if you'd like, or whatever you want to do with it. We do have a web app called the Hexploration, and we'll probably be improving that so you can do a digital version of this kind of thing. But right now it's been a mad scramble to get this to all of our backers. So they'll be getting it next week as we package things up and ship it out. But then the next fun part is grabbing these clings. And so these are just reusable static clings. So we can take this cool tower and put this here in the middle of the mountains up here. There's that there, and we can take like this. I've got a skull mountain here, and this can go right in the middle of our desert if we want to. It's really whatever you want to do with it. You've got a lot of possibilities here. A lot of various icons. There's also quite a few towns, for example, so we can put this town down. I'm going to do this smaller town first because I want to build up to something else. So we can stick this town here on the edge of the forest, for example. And they're all static clings, so you can pull them off. That one there might overlap the forest a little bit, so I can stick it over a little bit further. And that's okay if it overlaps with the other tile. It's a little awkward doing this from this angle. So you've got all of that going on there. But these clings, you've got 10 sheets of tiles with at least 10 on each of these different locations of different towers and towns. Here we've got a great big pit. Here we've got a pair of farming towns. So I can pull these out here and stick this here in this farmland area down here. And that's not quite centered, so they're not straight on. I think it's more like that. So we can put that there. And if we want to, we can add in coastlines too and rivers with the other tiles. When we've got a number of additional tiles here, for example, we can take this, and these are all kiss cut. So these little cling pages are all kiss cut, of course, then depending on if you get the edge, it might take a few tries to get it off. But they're all kiss cut, and so you can put that there, and we can do like this here, although that kind of implies that we're going to be going inland with another similar one. Maybe we'll move this over to here and find a C tile, another C tile over here. There's my blue. And so I can stick a C tile in there. And then we can grab another one of these here. And we can put in, if I can catch the edge. I was really good. I haven't been watching any suspenseful movies in the past couple of weeks. So my fingernails are not bad, but I am still having a trouble sometimes. Okay. So there's another one. We can stick that on there. And then we can have a bunch of river sections as well. So you can make a river, and there's mouths for the rivers. I did pull one off earlier, but yeah, so here's another river mouth. And so we can stick this on here and put a river mouth there. And then build a river system, essentially. And I'm not going to take the time to do all of that, but there's a river system that you can put together. And we can pull this off and move it slightly so that it's going to be a little bit away from the river there, on the edge of the river. But we can then continue building that up, and there's even some origins, some places where the rivers would be starting and so forth. So that's what the tiles are all about. There's one more thing about the tiles I should say. So if I hadn't said it yet, the tiles are laminated and on thick cardstock. So I'd say that the feel of them is similar to a driver's license. Maybe not quite that thick, but thicker than any of the library cards that I have. And all of these individual hexes are 1 inch in scale. So they're 3 inches across, and here's a quarter just to give you an idea of the scale of it all. But what I can also do, since they're laminated, is they are dry erasable. So if I wanted to then also add in roads, I can say that I've got a road going across all of these, and then I can wipe it away later with a tissue or whatever. So we've got that. Marker's kind of old, but you get the idea. So we've got all that. And yeah, so Dyson Logos has worked with us for quite a while and has done all of the art for these. We have Keith Curtis, another artist that we work with regularly, who came in and did some of the additional icons for this. Dyson's done some, and then Keith added some more variety for us. But those two folks, and then we've got Andrew Shields did the primary writing of almost all the cards on the deck. I stepped in and did a handful here and there, but it's primarily Andrew, and he's got a ton of great ideas all the time. Let's just look at another one of these decks. Look at Underrealms, just to kind of show off some of the things here. So here we've got this deck here and the art here. The art is primarily the Forge Studios. We have a couple of other artists who did a handful of cards as well, and they've done all this great artwork. So you have an idea of what all that is. Oops. And again, 40 cards with art on the front, and then charts of ideas on the back, plus 10 more. I didn't get into what these the 15 cards. There's 10 that are traits, and then final 5 cards are additional information. But so here we've got Smoke Tree. So if you want to add that to any particular area, whether it's a location or an area, you can. Busker's Haven, Stone Thorns, and the backside of these is another thing. So do not sleep here. So some things to be wary of in a particular area. And these can be applied to any other location. But to take a look at a couple of these location cards, let's just grab one. Okay, I love this brain thing. Whatever this giant brain mausoleum is, I love that. And then on the back side of here, it's the Temple of the Outsider. What is that big glowing purple thing? Of course, you got to lead with that. And then who maintains it and why is it hard to reach? And he gives you, we've got a list of 6 ideas for each of these things. Sometimes that top section will be a chart with 2 or 3 columns with shorter information. Here's a 2-column one. So the Seer's Shrine. And you've got a bunch of charts of ideas about all this. We envisioned this as a great session 0 tool for your campaign, where you guys, the GM, if they want to do this alone, is welcome to do that. But it's also something where the players can all get together as part of their session 0 and talk about the campaign and kind of lay out the campaign and lay out interesting locations in the campaign. And whoever's going to be the GM can run it as that, or can adjust as they need to, can be like, hey, that was 300 years ago, and this shrine is now in ruins, or whatever. That is a look at the Hexploration kit, and let me find that. The Hexploration kit here, and the map tiles here. And then the 5 decks, Hexploration decks of ideas. We're really excited about them. They've been getting great reviews from everybody who's seen the samples, the PDFs, and so forth. So we're excited to have them. We're going to be getting them out to backers over the course of the next week before Gen Con, which is going to happen a week and a half from then, or less than 2 weeks from today as I'm recording this. So we hope to have, or we will have, a number of them there at our booth, which is booth number 150 in the exhibit hall. It's right next to the side entrance, if you will. It's on the far left side as you're entering the hall. But then down that aisle about halfway, a little more than halfway, there's also a side entrance there, and we're up there against the wall. So we'd love to see you. We'd love for you to check these out as well as all of our other stuff. We'll be having our side quest decks and our NPC decks and our dungeon morphs, and we're going to be having a bunch of books that our friend ZGM Mike Shea has signed. He said he quite enjoyed doing that. We managed to meet up with him and get him to sign about 100 books for us. So we'll look forward to seeing you guys there. And if you're not able to go, hey, we'll have them for sale on our website afterward. And if you were a backer of this, can't wait to get them in your hands. You've seen the digital versions of everything, most likely, unless you missed some emails. And the quality of the art and the ideas on them. And so it'll be great to get the physical versions if you backed for that. All right, thanks a bunch. Take care. Have a good day. Have a good week. Have a good Gen Con, et cetera, et cetera. Thanks again.